All right, teams, I'm back on again. I want to show you how to use PowerPoint. So in the virtual library on the S drive, in the connections and in the life enrichment section, there are under intellectual and life enrichment, and in the memory care one for connections, it is going to be under the learn. You can find these PowerPoint games. In order to add them to your smartboard, you can simply get a flash drive and download them onto that flash drive, plug it into your computer on the back of the smartboard, and drag them and drop them off the flash drive onto the desktop of this computer here. So they're very easy. And I created not only PowerPoint games, but also PowerPoint lifelong learnings. Once you see them, you're going to be able to create your own going forward. So I'm going to click on PowerPoint games to start with that. So when you open up the PowerPoint games, you have multiple ones you can use. And they work just like any other PowerPoint. The only difference is you're going to navigate them by touching the screen rather than clicking a mouse or clicking a clicker. You can use a clicker if you want. I have sent clickers to people. And it's entirely up to you. If you use the clicker, Velcro it to the back of your board, just a helpful best practice tip to keep it from disappearing. So let's go ahead and try Common Grounds. So Common Grounds, right now I've got 35 sets in here in the virtual library. I have more still yet to do. I want to make sure you have options galore to be able to do things. My goal is for you to be able to have 365 different things to do easily on the board. So you have options every single day of doing something different. All right, so Common Grounds. Common Grounds is a game that takes 3 objects and connects them together. So when we're teaching care partners how to use the board, it's really important that we show them the right way to do this to get the maximum benefit for the residents. So as you're looking at the slideshow I pulled up, if you try to play it just like this, the residents are going to see your answers over here. That kind of defeats the purpose of stimulating the conversation and triggering some of the neurons with the trivia. So in order to play this, you want to go up to the top and hit slideshow. Once you hit slideshow, you want to do from the beginning. Now, if you interrupt your game and have to pause it, say that you're finished or you need to pause for a little bit and go do something else, if you hit escape, it brings it back together. You can minimize it, go do whatever else you need to do, and then come back to your game later. So I'm going to start and show you how to play this game. So Common Grounds. It is a little bit more difficult of a game. You're geared towards residents that are higher functioning, maybe in early stage to early middle stage dementia. It's fun to play with the caregivers too and have them kind of coach the residents and talk, especially if you have a lower functioning group of residents. Played it in assisted living. I played this with independent living as well, and had a great time with it. All right, so how to play it. The instructions are on the board. So what I usually do is have a resident read this to me. One of those often overlooked skills for people with dementia is the fact that they can read. So let's use their skills and to our advantage and encourage it. We're going to live by the old adage, if you don't use it, you lose it. So let's get our residents reading. It doesn't matter if 20 minutes from now they don't remember what we read, but the joy is in the moment of doing this. So real easy. You read the words on the board and you decide what they have in common. So we give it a try. All right, your first one. And I have a resident usually read this. And sometimes you have to have the same resident read it. But you kind of pull people in and try different residents to read. Even if they don't read really loud, you can always walk up to them and say, hey, what does that say on the board? My glasses aren't well, can you help me read it? And they'll tell you, healthy, wealthy, and wise. You repeat it to the group a couple of times. All right, my friends, what do you think these 3 things have in common? Healthy, wealthy, and wise. Seems like I've heard that before. And this is kind of the things I would say to the group of residents to kind of stimulate their interactions and pull them into what we're doing. So healthy, wealthy, and wise. So when I write these games, I write them Montessori. They're built in with their answers. So your next one is going to be your answer slide. Answer is always going to be a little different color. In this game, the answer is blue. In most of the other games, the answers are red. Red is your stop color. So the answer to that is, those are 3 qualities that are from a quote by Ben Franklin. Early to bed, early to rise, according to Ben Franklin, makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise. So that's common grounds. It's a simple word game, very easy to do. We've played these for years at tabletops. We've bought games, you know, as programming professionals that do these things, but using your smartboard really helps get the residents engaged on a completely different level than normal. All right, so let's look at another one. And you can hit the escape to navigate back out. All right, so let's look at some picture games. So close-up pictures. I started this one. I've got some more I'm working on. I'm actually going and taking pictures of things and zooming in on them to get really good quality, clear pictures. It's always interesting to hear what residents say about these things. So this one is kind of neat. These games, several of them, what I've started doing is not only building in the game, but also building in lifelong learning to these games. I found them to be really kind of cool for caregivers who may not have experienced some things, to learn about different things as we go along. All right, close-up pics. How do you play it? You look at the pictures and try to guess what they are. So in this one, looks really good. It's got something dripping off of it. And then the question, what does the question say? And I'd ask a resident, what sweet breakfast treat is this? I don't know. Looks pretty tasty though. Let's see if we can find out. Anybody know? And you pause for a moment. Give the residents time to answer. With dementia, our residents take a little bit more time to process than we do. Oh, it's pancakes. Pancakes with syrup. And then each one of these questions has an additional, each one of these pictures to guess has an additional question built in. So for this one, it's what's your favorite toppings for pancakes? You can also have your whiteboard during this and make your list, you know, favorite toppings for pancakes. Your next slide is the lifelong learning. This one is about IHOP. You know, did you know that IHOP is an American multinational pancake house? It's a very kind of a fast food casual family restaurant. And the very first one was opened across the street from the original Bob's Big Boy in the Riverside Drive in Toluca Lake District of Los Angeles. So you can get all kinds of cool trivias, and this is a picture of the actual first International House of Pancakes. So that's how you do the PowerPoint games. Very easy to do. The other PowerPoint that I have on your virtual library for your access is PowerPoint Lifelong Learning. Most of these I've created. I have a partner who's helped with some of the travel ones, and I've also started sourcing what other sites and gathering them up for you guys to be able to use on the smartboards as well. So let's go through and I'll show you what the travel looks like. So Hawaii travel trivia. So these are not meant really for assisted living groups. They're really geared towards the memory care. But you can use them if you have assisted living residents that are interested. So beautiful PowerPoint, navigates just the same. How many islands does Hawaii consist of? Beautiful backgrounds. So this one, we don't expect them to have the answers. We expect them to kind of participate and ooh and ah about the pictures and talk about the different islands of Hawaii. Has anybody ever been to any of these islands? This will be super fun to be sipping a tropical drink or having some tropical snacks, maybe some fried Spam while you're doing the trivia. So they're very short, they're not extremely long. This whole discussion group is 20 slides long. Once you've seen one of them done or used it, then you'll understand you can make your own. You can make your own about your own local states. You can make it about different destinations around the world and different cultures. Those are all part of lifelong learning. So other lifelong learnings, unusual inventions. I have one about shoes that's kind of cool. And you'll notice that with the PowerPoint lifelong learnings, the backgrounds are different, where a lot of the games have a very similar background. The reason why I did different backgrounds on lifelong learning was to create some more interest. Unusual inventions that did not catch on. So, you know, sometimes people have some good intentions and have these great plans for something cool that they want to invent that's going to change the world. But sometimes they miss the mark. So I found a collection of things that people wished later that they hadn't invented, or were really glad that they didn't stick for very long. So smoke sharing inventions. So it was the idea to be able to share the same cigarette or share the same pipe between two people. So generating some excitement when you're talking about these things and talking about the pictures and getting residents to even read some of it if they're able to. The print's a little smaller on these, but it creates some interest for people and gets some laughs with some of these things. I don't know about you, but I think this is a little bit too much togetherness. All right, so navigating back out, simply hit that escape, exit, and you're out again. So other resources that you can use and download things to put on your smartboard from is that Activity Connection. So Activity Connection has slideshows, but they are not the same as the PowerPoints. They navigate very differently. So I'm going to go in here and pull up this Activity Connection Jeopardy. So with the Activity Connection, make it big on your screen. They navigate differently. They don't slide this way like a regular PowerPoint. They're actually written as an Adobe Acrobat file, so you have to scan down them. So a good way to use this Activity Connection Jeopardy is to make a Jeopardy board with the money symbol, you know, the money amounts on it. And then as the residents are getting them right, you can give them that money for getting that question right. Or you can have teams and have your whiteboard and the Jeopardy money board there together. So with these, they navigate, like I said, a little differently. I just made it smaller. If it shrinks, make sure you make it big enough so that the residents can see it without seeing the answers. Okay? All right. Whoops. Stop. So Activity Connection also has PowerPoint lifelong learning stuff. I found some stuff early in COVID on a company called Wiser Now. They had some really good stuff as well. But once you see them and use them, then you actually have the capability on your smartboard to make PowerPoints or even on your own desktop or laptop computers. So that's it about how to use the PowerPoints with the smartboard.